The best part about stories, you remember them. They stay with you. And I want to tell you a bedtime story. Rest your tired bones.
Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. So here's what happened. Ryan Reynolds' Maximum Effort channel on Fubo was abruptly cancelled in 2025, not long after the lawsuits began. The channel had launched a few years earlier as part of a deal with Fubo, but it ultimately didn't last. One of the shows on that channel was Bedtime Stories with Ryan Reynolds, which premiered in 2023 and ran for 10 episodes. It wasn't specifically created as children's programming, and it's unclear whether it was ever really intended for kids. Now, a few years later, Reynolds has licensed those 10 episodes to Nick Jr. The series is set to start airing there on March 2nd and will run nightly for about 2 weeks until all episodes have been broadcast. If you're not familiar, Nick Jr. is a preschool-focused channel. Think shows like Dora the Explorer and Blue's Clues. The news about the licensing deal was first reported by Deadline yesterday. According to the announcement, the 10-episode first season will air Monday through Friday, March 2nd through March 13th at 9:30 p.m. on Nick Jr. In the series, Ryan Reynolds reads both new and classic bedtime stories, with the tales coming to life around him through animation. The idea is to create a warm, playful, and imaginative viewing experience that parents and kids can enjoy together. The show was created with George Dewey and originally aired on Fubo's Maximum Effort channel. Reynolds has said he developed the project in part because of his own anxiety, wanting to share the kinds of stories he reads to his children at night in a broader way. When it first came out, though, some viewers felt the tone didn't quite match typical preschool programming. Reynolds' signature low, dry delivery and self-aware humor struck some as more in line with his comedic persona, almost like a toned-down version of Deadpool as a dad, rather than traditional children's storytelling. The darker lighting and certain animated elements, like the sheep featured in the series, also led to mixed reactions. The pickup raised eyebrows for some, especially given that Paramount Global owns Nickelodeon, which includes Nick Jr. The press release announcing Nickelodeon to air Bedtime Stories with Ryan starring Ryan Reynolds beginning March 2nd closely mirrored earlier trade coverage from Deadline. There's also speculation about Reynolds' broader relationship with Paramount, particularly given that executive Josh Greenstein is now there. From a business standpoint, this appears to be a licensing deal for reruns of a series that previously aired on a short-lived channel with limited viewership. It's worth noting that Nick Jr.'s late-night ratings are typically modest compared to major primetime programming, and the network is known strictly for children's content, unlike something like Nick at Night. So parents tuning in at 9:30 p.m. during that 2-week run will find Reynolds delivering bedtime stories in his distinctive style. As always, whether the show feels charming or offbeat likely comes down to personal taste. Honestly, I doubt this deal is bringing in a huge payday for Ryan. It's airing on Nick Jr., and these are reruns, a previously produced 10-episode series that's simply being licensed for a short run. This isn't a brand new production. It's repackaged content from the former Maximum Effort channel on Fubo, which didn't exactly thrive in terms of ratings. From a business perspective, this looks like an attempt to generate additional residual income from an existing project that didn't perform particularly well the first time around. There was also public debate in Wales over grants connected to stadium improvements, with some locals questioning why public funds were involved given the Hollywood ownership. In response to financial pressures and expansion costs, selling minority stakes is a common strategy in professional sports, though some observers speculate that it could ultimately position the club for a larger future sale. At the same time, Reynolds remains tied to several business ventures, including Aviation American Gin and Mint Mobile, both of which have faced shifting market conditions in recent years. The broader spirits industry, for example, has experienced fluctuations in demand. On the legal front, there has reportedly been substantial spending related to ongoing litigation involving Reynolds and Blake Lively. High-profile law firms and crisis PR consultants can be extremely costly, and legal analysts have speculated that major cases like this can run into the tens of millions over time, particularly when multiple firms are involved and motions are filed extensively. While exact figures aren't publicly confirmed, prolonged litigation at this level is rarely inexpensive. Recently, court activity appears to have slowed compared to earlier months filled with filings and motions. that could simply reflect the case entering a waiting period for judicial decisions, something that's not uncommon after major hearings. As for the bigger picture, public perception plays a huge role in celebrity-driven business ventures. Brand partnerships often include morality or reputation clauses, and an entertainer's market value is closely tied to how audiences view them. Whether this latest licensing deal represents savvy asset monetization or a sign of financial strain depends largely on perspective and on information that isn't fully public. For now, what's clear is that reactions to the Nick Jr. airing are mixed at best in certain online spaces, and there's ongoing scrutiny around Reynolds' business moves, legal battles, and public image. How it all plays out will likely depend on upcoming court decisions, business performance, and whether audiences ultimately embrace or ignore projects like Bedtime Stories with Ryan.